Welcome everyone. Welcome YouTube. Welcome to the 14th edition of the Home Theater Hub. Got my co-host, Mr. Ike. What's up, Ike? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's been a long day, busy week, but I'm good. How about yourself?
Same thing. Busy, 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 right? So,
I know we barely had any chance to talk all week. We barely spoke, right? And when you
yeah.
called me, I think that was yesterday, I was out of town attending work-related training. I was out for about 3 days, so it's good to be finally back home.
So that must mean not a whole lot of theater update for you then.
No, nothing really much for me. Came back and found the theater a mess, popcorn everywhere from the kids having fun in there, so I had to clean up. But I am working on a video for the that should be ready by the weekend. So
Okay. Can you give us a little teaser?
yeah, it's what everybody has been expecting. It's the Our Evolution player. So
Okay. Well,
finally get to finish that up.
that's awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that because I'm real familiar with the Zapedi, so I want to see what you think about that Arvolution there. I know it's um I know it's very similar, but I heard it's a little bit snappier than the Zapedi. So I've helped a couple people install the actual software on their
Yeah.
device, but I've not installed it on mine yet. I've paid for it, but I've just not installed it yet. The Arvolution on the Zapedi. So look
Yeah,
forward
that's
to a
the
couple.
app, right?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think what I found interesting, which I never knew, even though I've had the Our Evolution sitting in the house for only God knows how long now, was that for the player, the app actually comes free with it, but
Right.
everybody else gets to pay for that.
Well,
So
not
I was,
everybody. Just Zapedi
oh,
users.
Zapiti. Yeah, that's who I consider everybody else. My bad. Let me correct that. But yes, Zapiti users get to pay for
Yeah,
it because
that's pretty inexpensive. It's like $50 for the year.
yeah,
If that's all it takes to keep my Zapedi working, that's well worth it for me. So it's just a couple bucks
yeah.
a
I
month.
was I was always under the impression that um it wasn't free for even those that had the players because I thought that they were trying to make it like an independent app that could be used across platforms. But it's good to
Right.
know that everybody that has the Our Evolution Player One gets it for free, which makes sense. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I believe they're going from to my understanding. I could be incorrect, but I know that it's going to be available for the Zune players. And the Zadoo
yeah,
also. So I'm pretty sure that from what I read that it was going to be free for them also. So they were only charging just the Zapedi users. So,
uh,
but we'll have to find out with that. But I'm excited for your review. I've been looking forward to that. I know you've got that in a little while ago, and unfortunately, sometime life happens, right, to where you're not able just to
yeah,
get.
yeah. At first, I didn't have the projector, then I didn't have the processor, and then so now at least I can do a much better review of it
Right.
that will match the use case that I would normally would use it for. So
That's good. That's
yeah,
good. So you got the projector up installed.
yes, and I am loving it. You know,
So
hopefully I'll be able to watch something tonight and over the weekend.
well,
But
I just saw you curl up with a blanket in the green room, so I don't know how much longer you're going to be up. Or you might fall asleep on me while I'm talking here.
not really. It's because I turned the air on up here, so it gets really warm in here, and then you turn the air on, and it gets freaking
You're
cold.
gonna hear
So
Ike snoring in a minute. He's gonna post his picture up there like he's sitting in the chair, and next thing we know, we're gonna hear him snoring in the background.
yeah,
So
it's been that type of a week, but glad to be here, and thank
I
you
just
everyone for hopping on with us.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you everyone for joining the show. So as Ike mentioned, it's been pretty busy for me too. So I work stuff, and then we're going to take a little. I always preach this family first, right? So
Yep.
um, I'm trying to we're going to go to Disney Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So we're gonna first. I'm going to start my trip off tomorrow.
Yep.
We're going to head up to Tampa, and we're going to be hitting the Florida Expo, the Florida Audio Expo. Have you
Yep.
ever attended the Florida Audio Expo?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
I convinced my wife to go with me just because we're passing through to go to Disney.
Yep.
I'm really going there just to try to talk to a couple brands. I want to try to bring a couple more speaker brands on because all I'm a dealer of right now is Martin Logan. So I'm interested to try to bring some more Sound United stuff, B&W.
Yep.
Uh, I also want to try to reach out to RBH. I'm
Okay.
very interested in hearing those speakers. I've not heard them yet,
Yeah.
but they have a AMT tweeter just like my Martin Logan's. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they'll be similar but better. They make a darn good speaker. From what I can tell, there's a lot of research going into this. I watched a podcast the other day with Dream Media and
Hmm.
uh, and RBH. I can't remember whose channel it was on, but RBH was showing all their new items off. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited to take a look at them. And then also thinking about like a Focal. I want to audition some Focals just to take a look. And I was able to convince the wife to go too, because
Nice.
I said you get in free, and so do children. So it says spouses and children free,
That's
right?
good, man. That's a good
Yeah,
way to sell tickets.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we're gonna head up there and take a look. Go ahead and pop the share screen up. Let's take a look at some of the exhibitors that we got going on there. So, if you guys are in the
Have you added the share screen? I don't think I see it.
it's there. I'm sharing already. You gotta put me on there. So
Oh,
just
okay. That
my,
that's not showing up. You want to cancel and share again? Cause
stop sharing and we'll cancel.
okay, yeah, add that again.
Let me try that again. Let's see here. All right, let me share again.
Ah, there you go.
All right. So the expo's running the 16th through the 18th. I know Youth Man's going to be there.
Yeah.
Uh, Kanga from Sciphonics is going to be
Yep.
there. I believe. I believe that Don Dunn and Gene from Audioholics is going to be there.
Yeah, and I
So
think Woody Sound is gonna be there too. Yeah, there's a couple of folks that are gonna be out there. So
I'm not too big on two channel, but like I said, I want to just try to reach out to some dealers to try to bring on some different brands. See which brands I like because I don't want to represent a brand that I wouldn't like. You know what I mean? So these speakers, I actually saw these speakers at Expona about 4 or 5 years ago,
yeah.
and man, they sound very nice.
So is
But
it primarily a two-channel event or?
yeah, so from what I understand, it's for the most part a two-channel event. I'm going to look at some of the exhibitors here. Let's see if we can take a list of some of the exhibitors.
And while we do that, it looks like we have um, Paul in the house.
Oh, Mr. Paul.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull drag his
Yeah,
ass
I don't know
in.
if my mic's too loud now or what, but
Now we can hear you.
all right. Yeah,
We can
I
hear
had
you.
some
You
technical
sound.
difficulty, technology for some weird, strange reason, and I have no idea why.
You know what happened?
You
Shut it
sound
off,
deep and
turn
clear.
it back on, and that's it. That's all that it needs to mess up.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Normally, I have my Safari set to just ask for permissions, and for some reason, even though I said allow, I had to manually go in and allow it for my mic. Go
Yeah.
figure. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know. I think it's this software that we're using too. Sometimes it it's a little difficult and finicky too.
Either
Yeah,
way,
don't blame
the
yourself, man.
obligatory.
Don't
There
blame
we go.
Oh
yourself.
Get
yeah.
us started, Paul. Get us started. So, Paul, we're just looking at catching up here. Where I was talking about how I'm going to the Audio Expo. I'm going to try to bring on some speaker brands for my dealership that I'm trying to put together here. I haven't really advertised anything yet or done anything. I want to get the demo room done first before I really start announcing anything. But I've been selling some stuff here and there, not really pushing, like I said. But I see they got audio research there. I'm interested in seeing some of that.
Yeah, it
That's
looks like the SVS guys are already there,
So
so
obviously,
Pro Listen is already
besides
there.
yeah, besides some of the vendors that you are looking to onboard, what are you excited to see that you may think is new or a new take on something?
So I want to check out the SVS if they have them there. I want to check out the new speakers that look like the Cantus, the Focal Cantus. I want to see and hear them. I do. Everybody talks about these Borison. Never heard them before, so I'm excited to hear them. RBH is one that I'm really, really interested in as bringing on um, as a dealer for them. So just have to go there, and obviously, I don't want to bring, like I was mentioning before, I don't want to bring on any brands that you know I don't like myself, right? So I wouldn't. That's not how I sell. I like to enjoy what I sell, and recommend something that I truly believe in. So I see they got the Dutch and Dutch there. I'll probably definitely make it there to see in that room to see the Dutch and Dutch speakers. Um, Supposedly they're one of the best, flattest speakers to audition or listen to. So
Hmm.
I've heard that from a couple people. They're not cheap. I
I
think
don't
they're
think
like,
I ever heard of them, so
yeah, Matthew
let me
Bose
Google
recommends
it.
them a lot. They're not a home theater speaker. They're
Ah,
a they're a
so
two channel
two
speaker.
channel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I have a lot of gap when it comes to two channel brands.
yeah. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a two channel person. I definitely want to see Focal. You know, so I'll be diving into that room. Hi-Fi Rose. I have some people asking me about Hi-Fi Rose, so I want to check out some of their players. Are you guys familiar with Hi-Fi Rose?
Yep, but I really want to get one. I plan to get one at some point.
I don't have any personal experience with them, but yeah, I've seen a lot of different, options and other brands that are similar to that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Name. They have a Focal. It looks like they're going to have Name in there also. So that'll be another streamer that I like to take a look at. Next level, Hi-Fi. That is one that I definitely want to check out. They are. Let's see. What is that guy? AV Nirvana. Todd.
Yep.
He reviewed an in wall subwoofer for them that he just raved about. So definitely interested in taking a look at those and seeing what they have to offer there. So let's see, Per Listen. I've listened to Per Listen before at M Wave. Um, love the technology, love the speakers. They sound really good. Definitely want to check them out again.
Man, I want those there Atmos speakers, man. Those things are hefty, man. I don't even think my drywall will be able to hold them. It look like you need to brace them.
So, like I said, I'm going to check out SVS. I want to check out their new. Maybe I can give Paul a little insight on that because I know you've had your eyes on the SVS and you listened to them
Yeah,
at M, but not the newer one. So maybe I can give you a little insight on those when.
yeah,
You
man. And let's try to get Nick on the show, man. When you get there, man, we should talk to him once you're
Yeah,
there.
we can definitely do that. Try to. I can see if we can get him to join the show one day to talk about what's going on there.
Yeah, because
Yeah, tell him if he can give me a good deal, man. Hook a brother up.
I know, right?
I got Paul. You know,
Paul,
he's,
don't go
he's our
asking.
third host on Home Theater Hub. Hook him up.
Don't go asking for deals, Paul. You get you in trouble.
Oh, I know, right? That you'll offend people.
Well,
Hey, I ain't too proud to beg. I'll hey.
so
That's
second
crazy.
floor, I guess there's a bunch of different floors that this is going to be on. Third floor. So yeah, I'll have to do some mapping out and make the most of my time because I'll probably get there. I don't know. I'll probably get there around noon, and I think it shuts down at 6 o'clock. So I don't plan on staying the whole time because I'm sure I'll be getting the nudge from the wife. That we've seen enough speakers because my mother-in-law, and my son are all going. So my
Oh,
son will.
Mm,
you
So
got the full house then.
yeah. Hey man,
I
you're
think
gonna be
it's more
outnumbered
like
there,
they don't
man.
trust you, man. You're gonna look at all the speakers and then end up buying half of them. So
no, no, no.
Uh,
I am interested in RBH though. They have some very nice end walls because I even though I have tower speakers, I still think about doing in walls instead of towers. But I've built the theater, and we're going to go through that in a little bit. I've built the theater to where it looks like everything when the finished product is all going to be in wall, even though it's not. But
it's gonna look in wall.
yeah, it'll look well. You won't be able to see any speakers, so everything will be covered up. So it
Yeah.
won't look in
nice.
wall, but
Yeah, if I did that, I would probably just still stick with, towers,
Yeah,
like three
especially
matching
when
towers.
you
Just
have the space to put
so
them
you
in.
could easily change them out mostly, if you're wanting to, just change the change, you know.
yeah, I'm going to ask some opinions, Paul, when we get to some of my pictures that I got here
Yep.
later on. But um, I just worry about the height of my front stage. I mean, they are above normal seating, but the screen is going to come down. There's going to be like 30 inches. Anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit. So, Ike, on this list here, do you see anything that you'd be interested in uh, getting some feedback on?
Um, honestly, I was going through that. I was like, man, I have not seen 80% of those names on the list. So I kind of
Did
it
you
was kind of
send the
interesting.
link to the to that in the chat or anything?
No,
Cuz
but
I
I can definitely put that in there
yeah.
for you.
Yeah. No,
Um,
Cuz
really. I think
I don't read as fast as you guys
it's the same
apparently.
brands that we just highlighted, right? I think
yeah,
but I'm always interested in new tech, right? Any fancy looking speakers that you see, and you know, would definitely want to capture those just so that we can share with we can share with the good people out there next week.
absolutely.
So just record all you can or take pictures, whichever one
Yeah, I'll probably take
works.
some
And
pictures to be honest with you because like I said, I'm going to have the wife and kids. And
now, if SVS has those new speakers, you better do a 2-3 minute interview, something, man, something.
I will.
If those new lineups are there, you better do something. Do
I mean, some of
five
these.
minutes is okay, but have them talk about it so that we can take a look.
Yeah, I didn't. I'll be honest with you. It was kind of going to be a hit and run type of thing for me. I was going to say hi to Michael, say hi to.
Hey,
Uh,
that's why I said 5 minutes. I didn't say 30 minutes interview, right? So
I would be interested in some of the acoustic panels and any new aesthetics that are, especially depending on some of the prices. Because, I mean, you pay for, exotic looks for sure, but it's
Roar,
still nice to see what's out there and what people are providing on some of that
yeah,
front. Um,
yeah. I'll definitely check out some acoustics because I don't have I was going to reach out to what's the not GIK, but the other one that starts with a V, I think. Um,
Vicoustics.
yeah, Vicoustics. I was going to reach out to them to try to bring them on also. Um,
Okay.
but you know, definitely going to go and check out, like you said, different designs and stuff like that, Paul. That would not that it's not so that it's not the same look, right? Because event some of these theaters that I see online, doing the theater tours, doing the upper, usually the middle end theater tours, and by middle I would say somewhere between 20 to $100,000 for a theater, right? Um,
Hmm.
they all start to look the same. They all start to blend in. If I belong to a bunch of Facebook groups. So I like the fact that when people, like you always point out here, Paul, that people add character to their theaters, and I like the fact that they're actually doing that and adding a little bit of pop, and it's just not a black hole. Um, sure,
Hmm.
it looks fantastic when the lights are out and everything else like that, but I also want something to be able to say that I can enjoy during the day, right? I don't have to turn the lights out to come in and enjoy it. And you guys will see with the theater plans that I'm going to share later on tonight that I plan on keeping my windows. But I plan on covering them up
Yep.
when the actual theater is in use.
Yeah.
Um, but if
Yep.
I want to watch a Super Bowl or a television series in there, something like that. I, s-
Yeah.
you know, don't mean I want to just go sit in a dark room. You know what I mean? So,
Well, yeah, and I mean, you have two general types. You have the recording studio look, which I mean is cool, but that doesn't really appeal to the masses as much as something like I think Michael did the Harry Potter themed room, and that was a small room. And I thought, to me, so far, that's probably one of my favorite rooms that I've seen on his channel. Um, yeah, I mean the Star Wars is cool, but a lot of the stuff that I really did enjoy in those were um, the external stuff that's not even in the theater, like the hallway going through, or the one person that had like the busts that were really lifelike, and that was a collection, which
Yeah.
is, really cool. Now, if it was in the theater, yeah, I would probably have appreciated it or liked it a lot more. Not that some of those, like that whole room, is amazing, but I guess it just doesn't really appeal to me whenever you're getting into, and I'm just one person, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't appeal to me whenever it's like, oh yeah, that costs more than my house times three. So like, I'm like, that's cool. I like that. But it's like, I watching Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. I don't know if you remember that show where they used to show the houses and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, that's cool. It's kind of entertaining, but it's just like, well, yeah, nah.
no,
$30 million driveway alone, not including the house, the cars that are on it. It's like, wait, what?
so I went
Yeah.
to
you know?
Arizona in 2018, right? I had been doing maybe about 2 years worth of just thumbing around through home theater groups and everything else like that. And I saw this advertisement for Axpona. And I was like, well, all right, well, I'm going to fly out there. And I asked my wife, did she want to go? Of course, she didn't want to go. But so I fly out there and I buy the multi day pass. I get out there for Saturday and Sunday. And I was floored at the pricing. I had no clue what I was really getting into there. And because it's generally two channel. And I was going there to listen to Golden Ear because I was really, really interested in hearing Golden Ear. One of the dealers in Gainesville turned me on to the Golden Ear speakers, and I liked what I heard there. So I wanted to go and hear the rest of the models. and they're a great sounding 2 channel speaker, and a lot of people actually have them in their theater too. So um, it's they're a very good speaker, but man, I tell you, I started seeing the Sonus Faber. I went into one of the Sonus Faber rooms, and they had like a placard there showing how much the price tag of everything is, and I about fell out of my chair. I had no clue that I was looking at $10,000 pair of speaker cables. You know, uh, uh,
Mm, yeah.
the Sonus. I mean, the Sonus Faber room sounded unbelievable. I mean, it was like you were standing there and somebody was singing to you. But the room was $500,000.
Hmm.
And I was like, man,
And that's
I,
what the room paid for most of the time. That's just you're just talking equipment,
yeah,
and a lot of
exactly,
it. This isn't the room itself, you know.
correct. Yeah, that's not them soundproofing the room, putting treatments in the room, none of that stuff. That's just a
I would also be interested in whatever TAC or TEAC has, considering that they do a lot of, or maybe they don't anymore, but professional recording stuff, or used to maybe. Um, Other than that, anything that's like you said, custom wires or speakers or cables. I would love to see if there's any new look to any of it. It's like I don't care about, oh, this is a quad aught gauged cable or whatever, however many megawatts. I'm not trying to go back to the future with, gigawatts. Um, but just interested in the style of some of the cables, because to me, that's where these higher end, cables are even lacking. It's like, yeah, sure, they look beefy and whatever, but I mean, got to get more if you're charging that much money, you need to start getting really creative with the looks of these cables, like have, wood inlay circles every, inch. And for the price you pay for that, you could absolutely do that. And I think that would be, and then sure, they wouldn't make as much profit, but at least it could justify some of the cost. So it would
yeah,
still be flexible. And just imagine something like that, like a cherry oak ring, every, you know, just enough to where it would still be able to bend at least a 45-degree angle type of deal. That something like that, and maybe they have that already, and I just haven't seen them lately. But from my knowledge, all I ever see is just your basic, like, okay, yeah, that's cool. You made plastic look fancier on the outside of it, and you've got some beefy gold, nuggets or bolts on there, but it's still a bolt. It's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And then, yeah, they'll get fancy with some of the banana plugs, which I do appreciate some of that. But beyond that, I would be curious of and what I love about that is, like, even like the higher end, $500,000 theaters, you know, even though it doesn't necessarily appeal to me, I still like watching it, because you usually learn one or two things, like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, and you
right.
could scale it down to what is feasible in your room, like the lightings, like the light setup that I have. It's like, I think the first time I saw that, the setup was like, I don't know, just for the lights alone, was like 15 grand or something like that. And I did a couple iterations of mine just as a test. And yeah, I mean, I probably have maybe $1,000, if that,
Right.
probably $600 in lighting. And that's including, my barcade and my theater and the control box. But, and to me, it looks just as good. It's kind of like, whenever I did like any back in the day designing rooms and stuff like that, you can have a room that's $1 million. Then you can go to IKEA, and that same room is like $10,000.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and that's
Yeah.
where
No,
I'm at. I'm like,
I
give me the
understand.
$10,000 room, man.
I bought the control four switches because you have
Hmm.
to have like a three-way switch for the control fours, and those things were $100 a piece.
Yeah.
So you can easily get into the thousands of dollars just to
Yep.
switches and dimmers and everything else like that. So I understand where you're at with that.
Yeah. Yep.
I was gonna do just the Hue bulbs, but it wound up being just about almost the
Hue,
same price.
yeah, that's because
Yeah. At that
Hue is on
point.
the more
Yep.
expensive side of it. So you
Mhm.
go with
Yeah.
Philips
That
Hue is
you
going
might as
for the
well go
premium.
control
You
for.
might
Yeah.
as well
Yeah.
go
Yep.
control for.
Yeah. So when I
But
went to
the
Expo
nice
and
thing about the expensive ones are you usually, since they are designed for integrators
Yeah.
and or they have, price built in to where you call someone and say, "Hey, make this work,"
right, right,
which for what I do, it's like, "Hey, you're having to, whether it's a room that you're designing, you're having to shop to find the fancy looking chair that's, usually $6,000 for a solo chair. You have to go searching for that chair, you know what I mean? That looks similar,
exactly.
or whatever the case may be. And programming, especially if you don't have the skill set for auto lights, auto blinds, and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a lot of uplift if you're not already,
Yeah, I'm
you know,
hoping to see some
well
stuff like
versed.
that there. I'm hoping that there'll be some vendors for shades and lighting there also. I know it's the Audio Expo, but sometimes you get your one-off vendors there. That
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I went to a boat show and they had massage chairs there, so it's you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
you get your
You could
one-off
use some
vendor.
massage in the boat. Yeah.
Exactly.
That is another thing that would be interesting. Obviously, if it's audio expo, I'm sure there's going to be solo seating and chairs and stuff like that.
Right, right. I mean, look at the pricing though. I mean, this is one thing that inflation hasn't attacked apparently because $35 for 3 days of entertainment. I mean, where can you go to get that? The multi-day pass is $35 a person. That's unheard of. I mean, I
Yeah.
when I saw how inexpensive this is for me to, you know, attend this show for 3 days, which I'm not going to. I'm just going to buy the 1 day pass. But
Well, I think that's a part of the marketing though,
yeah,
because let's be honest, if a company goes there and sells one cable that has a 5,000 or 50,000% markup, let's be honest,
yes,
so they're willing to pay to be there. So
right.
so these companies are paying for the event, not
And the
the
other thing, like I said, look, spouses, children, and students get in free.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean, look, if
that
you're in the area,
that's
make sure that you
yeah.
come by and take a look. If it's a short little trek for me. It's about 3.5 hours to get up there, and then I'll like I said, I'll probably get there around noon, and then try to meet up with a couple people, and then hit up a couple vendors. My son's going to be excited. He's already telling me Mickey Runaway and Slinky Dog. So those are the first
Mm,
two rides that we're going to. So
that's
we have
awesome.
some passes to Disney. So we'll spend a couple days up there. Monday's actually my birthday, so we'll
Okay.
celebrate up there for my birthday at my one of my favorite steakhouses in Orlando. Actually, anywhere. It's Charlie's Steakhouse. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard of Charlie's, but it's it's delicious. Let's just put it that way.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, happy
Now, what's the,
birthday in
what's
advance.
Oh, thank
yeah. Yeah, happy birthday. That's a good one. I didn't know you even aged. I thought you stayed young forever.
you. Hey
Um
man, I just got to pay my barber good money to keep the grays away, right?
yeah, yeah, right.
I'll be
uh
51. I've got a full head of hair at 51 years old. I can't complain what color it is, right? So it could be pink. I still got a full head of hair. So
So,
But yeah, man. I mean, look, $35 if you're in the area, $25. Come up and check out the Florida Audio Expo. You know, give it a go. Like I said, I'm not a huge 2 channel fan, but I like to support stuff like this when it comes to my area. You know,
yeah,
so
I think that a lot of that is, you get to see the trends, and that's what I like about that. I'm don't s- I'm not a big car guy, but I like going to car shows just to see the tech, see the latest, Lamborghinis, see and I'm just not even that much of a car guy, but I still appreciate the technology and all the aesthetics, what's new and what they're creating. That's pretty wild. Just like on this homepage with these speakers that they have sitting there that look like hourglasses almost, or like
oh, the
chandeliers.
MBLs, those
Yeah.
are, man. When I went to the Florida Expo, I mean the Audio Expo, those were the best speakers that I heard there. I'll give just a quick backstory. There was a guy interested in in purchasing them. So of course they ushered out whoever was there and put it to where he can sit front and center in the money seat. And they played Michael Jackson. They played a Michael Jackson song. I believe it was Billie Jean. And the guy listened to it and he didn't even look back. He said, "Hey, by the way, do you it's these speakers right here to the left here." He said, "By the way, do you have that on vinyl?" So he knew that it wasn't playing in vinyl, and they popped on this $80,000 turntable that they had there and played it on vinyl, and there was definitely a difference. I could hear a difference between them playing it through a DAC and then playing it, the digital version versus vinyl, and it did sound a lot different. And this guy had the ear for it, and he knew right away. But I mean, those speakers were definitely when I went they were the best speakers that I heard there. So the Sonos Fabers were a close second, though. I don't remember the model numbers, but they were. It was definitely really good setup. So yeah, I'll take a look at the TEAC. I got it written down, Paul. I'll take a look and see what they got there for you. I'll also take a look at SVS and try to invite them on the show while we're there. See if we can get them to come on the show one evening.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
that
a
would be pretty
plan.
cool. Yeah,
Sounds like
man.
a plan.
They got all kinds of. I can't. I need to find. What was the? I'm gonna have to take a look at those speakers. Um, what were they?
Which
The
ones?
MPLs,
Oh,
they're
MPLs.
they're not cheap. So don't fall out of your chair when you look at the price. I think they're
Oh,
about $198,000 or something like that.
oh,
For
yeah.
a pair of them?
Yeah, I don't even think it's a pair.
Oh, yeah. A piece. That's pretty expensive.
So yeah,
That's pretty expensive. Yeah.
I don't think
Uh,
That is crazy, man.
yeah. Like I said, I was looking at $500,000 systems. One cool system that I saw there, the speakers they all look like gigantic horns, like almost like a French horn, and they were playing it off of 1 watt at like 120 decibels. So they were super efficient speakers, and they looked like they had big, gigantic, almost like the old record players, where they had the big horn on the top to put the sound out, to distribute the sound. They that was pretty interesting to watch them play off a 1 watt amplifier at like 120 decibels.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. There's definitely some cool stuff there.
it's 200. It's 198,000 per speaker, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
It's
That's
crazy, man.
exactly what I thought.
And they come in black or white.
I mean, only to listen to the same quality of music, right, as everybody else. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure the speaker design there, but I mean, it looks like it would, you know, be a pretty wide dispersion pattern.
Yeah, single. There
If
you go.
that
MBL 101 Extreme Single, 198,999. Can I? You know what? I'm going to set up.
Can you enlarge that picture? Is it possible?
Let's see if I can.
If you can double click on it or right click on it.
I don't know.
Visit the site. Visit site. So there's visit site right below there in blue. It should take you to an enlarged. Probably, yeah.
There we go. I gotta stop sharing this one and then I'll share the other. It's kind of blurry though. Stop sharing and then let me share the other picture that popped up for that. Let's see. There we go.
Man,
Yeah,
I might have found my speaker if those SVS.
You know what? I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to buy 9 of these for my bed layer channels.
Nah, not that one. I don't even care about that one. But the Focal Aria Evo X comes in a moss green, like a green color. Green's my favorite color, so that's cool.
I mean, the speakers look cool though, but
oh yeah,
yeah, those look amazing.
But so does my house.
Yeah, that's true.
And so does
buying a house now, you know.
And so does that baseball bat your kid will use to just go swing on it.
He's riding his scooter through the house lately and crashing in the doors. Could you imagine him crashing into this $200,000 speaker?
But the thing is, I mean, at that price, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what. I mean, that is an amazing engineering looking device. Yeah. I wouldn't even call it a speaker at that point. I mean, it is, but it's because it makes sound. But other than that, I mean, I would have to see people, you know, hear it, listen to it without seeing it to really know if people really think it's that amazing. Blind listening, because that's the only way that, you know, because sure, everything's going to sound different. I mean, but does that mean it's better? Different just means different.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. You know, I mean, like I said, at the time, and to my ears, they were the best sounding speaker. I visited almost every room that I could when I was there. I was there by myself for basically for 3 days. So, you know, I was walking around doing pretty much nothing other than trying to eat Chicago pizza for the first time. And, you know, there were a couple theater rooms there. JTR was there and Emotiva had set up a theater room. So, but it wasn't what I was expecting. I didn't realize that it was more of a 2-channel show. But, you know, I know that, you know, the Florida Audio Expo, that's what this is. So I don't have any expectations. So other than just to go there and talk to a couple vendors to see if I can bring them aboard.
Yeah, those blades, big Kev blades are, those are really good speakers.
What, 99,000 a piece or something like that? 99,000 a pair for the blades.
Yep.
Yeah. Get you one of those, get you some of those and some of those what are the big amplifiers they have them hooked up to in Best Buy? Classy amplifiers. Couple of those would be good to go. Hey. So Paul, congratulations, man. congratulations on the Super Bowl win with Kansas City there.
Oh yeah, man. That's oh gosh, that game was definitely a nail biter for a while, but it was good. Looking forward and hope it's a
It's
long
not going to be a
lasting
three-peat.
dynasty. you know.
Not going to be a three-peat. You're going to have to go through the Ravens again this year.
Uh,
We, the
Yeah,
Ravens picked their worst game, the worst game to play their worst game of the whole entire year. And I will credit defense.
and they'll do that next year too. So
I will credit the defense from Kansas City. They got two of the best corners in the game, and but my coach just decided after the first half of the first quarter to stop running the ball, and they were number one in rushing after contact, and number one attempts in rushing all year long, and we abandoning our number one thing. But anyway, what man? Sorry to hear about the
the
aftermath
incident,
of the
yeah,
parade
man.
there. Our thoughts and prayers to all the families in that area that's going through that. That was just a fantastic event, and then turned very horrific very fast. So thoughts and prayers to all the families that are dealing with the issue that took place at the parade.
Yep,
Did you happen to go out to the parade, Paul, or no?
he was there.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh wow!
He
Oh
was
I
wow!
there.
was just on the outskirts of the event, like
So,
yeah, like really close.
yeah,
Closer. I just consider myself lucky, and that's all I don't really want to highlight that really because
right,
that's
exactly.
not Kansas City for sure. Yeah, every city has its scars, but we're still a beautiful city. We're gonna continue to have parades. We're gonna continue to party you know like we should
Travis
and,
Kelsey.
and have fun. Yeah,
That
exactly,
guy is
exactly.
so entertaining, man. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, everybody loves him. He's the closer on the um he's the closer on the stage. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty fun. I mean, we had we it's it's just a great event for the city. Any
absolutely.
city
Yeah,
has the
absolutely.
opportunity to celebrate a big game. Super Bowl win. It's amazing. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, but wanted to. I know that you're a big Kansas City fan, so just wanted to congratulate you on the win. Even though I was still butthurt the whole time I was watching the game because my Ravens weren't there.
yeah, I wouldn't rub that in, but I would rub the delayed theater in.
Yeah,
I,
those
I
are
did
fight.
wa- I did want to bring that up. I actually my buddy has what is it? He's already got Tyvek up. Like
Oh, nice.
the house is framed already, and he ain't messing around.
I hear you. I hear you.
So,
Yeah, like
He
I
gonna
said,
be alright.
I
He'll be
got.
fine.
I think I'll be fine still. I mean, I've got a, and we'll go through it here in a minute because we're going to go through my home theater build today. Just by pictures. I mean, I can join in, but all you guys are going to see is drywall. So
Yeah,
I don't
but
want to bore you with a
hey,
bunch of drywall.
show us some drywall. It might motivate somebody out there.
So,
At least
but
people have to see, right? Because I know we make jokes about the progress of the home theater build, but it's a lot of work. As somebody
no,
who has done something similar, man, drywall sucks, man.
yeah, it absolutely. I mean, it's not that it sucks. It's just time consuming when you
Yeah,
have you got to cut out. Like I told you, I have all these light switches for the because I did three or four zones of lighting. I can't remember. So I got four boxes for the lights. I got all kind of electrical boxes for the speakers, 20 amp and 15 amp and everything else like that. It was it was you know cutting all those boxes out, measuring on the piece of drywall, making sure they're right. And then I have this keyhole like not like the manual keyhole saw, but the battery powered keyhole saw. And the bits, they make them only so long because they don't want you puncturing through a bunch of stuff when you're cutting out around the boxes.
Yeah.
Well, when you do
Hmm.
double drywall, the teeth are all the way at the end, and the part that goes into the machine doesn't have any teeth on it, any blades on it to cut. So you got to be very careful what you do. I messed up a couple pieces of board with that machine, and there were a few choice curse words going throughout the house, that my wife was wondering what was going on, because once you cut around a box and you make the hole too big, that plate's not going to cover, right? So once you make a slip of that, it's like a few choice words start coming out. So I stopped using that on the second layer of drywall. Now I'm just using the manual keyhole saw. But I uh, I had a guy come help me lift the boards on the. Well, he helped me do the ceiling, and then he helped me do the sidewall. And I was thinking, man, we're going to blow through this sidewall. And we did just a couple parts of the ceiling one day, and we hung maybe three-quarters of one wall in like 6 hours. And it was just because you're having to cut around windows and everything else. So I'll go ahead
Yeah.
and go into this. Feel free to ask some questions in the chat, or even in the even you guys feel free to ask some questions as we go along here. But this was a wall that actually separated a one car garage and my office. And when I purchased my house, I drove my realtor crazy, because that's all I talked about. Home theater, home theater. I need a room for home theater. And we must have viewed probably 40 houses, 40, 50 houses. I drove her absolutely insane. And before I even purchased this house, I reached out to the builder, and I also reached out to an architect to make sure that actually had the plans for this house. They actually designed it, to make sure that this wall was not load bearing before we even purchased the house. So in my eyes, I had the fact that I was going to, uh, tear this wall down no matter what. So open this wall up here. So this room is 18 foot wide. This was the garage part. And if you kind of look, you can see that down here on the floor, this is the back part of the garage. So this all slopes to the front, just in case it backs up with water, that it's going to come back out. So this garage floor is not level at all. So I discovered that later on, that that the garage floor wasn't level. So this is the office area that already has some tile, broke through the wall, and at that point there was no turning back. So we opened the wall up. Now we created a 23 and a half foot deep room by 18 foot. But as you can see, I got this garage door here. Well, I cannot remove the garage door. I cannot block it in because I'm in an HOA, and you can't change the aesthetics of your house. They have to approve every paint color. So there's only certain paint colors, there's only certain everything. So I called the HOA. I'm like, look, do you mind if I put a home theater in? And they say, we don't care what you do inside your house, you just can't change the outside. So busted through the wall, and that's a better picture of the garage and taking stuff down. And in the top there was a tray ceiling, and I thought about, how am I going to extend this tray ceiling to make it look even? So long story short, you can't, because this garage isn't as wide as the office area. So I wasn't able to just extend the tray ceiling or the Colford ceiling that I had in there. So I was not able to do that. And let's see here. I think I just zoomed in or zoomed out somehow. Well, there we go. Let's go to the next picture, see what happens. So yeah, so I had this lip here that I had to, as you can see here, that this, if you can see my cursor, this definitely gets, I guess, shallower or up at the top portion. So I discovered that later on as we were going into construction. So what I did was I put a flooring underlayment down because I didn't want anything to vibrate. So that flooring underlayment is all made of cork. You actually put the hardwood on top of this underlayment. That's what a lot of flooring people use when they're laying hardwood. So put this down on the concrete also to create like a moisture barrier. And that's a picture of the Colford ceiling that I had prior to opening it all the way up. So then I took all the hardware down from the garage door, right? Because it's not going to be functionable anymore. I took some L brackets, and I think I got some pictures of those L brackets, but I actually secured the door to the frame because the frame is wood, and that wood frame attaches into the block. I'm in South Florida, so all the houses are made of block for hurricanes. So got some of this acoustic. It almost looks like rock wool, but it's actually from a company called R Acoustics, and I actually got this from another guy. It was left over from his home theater build. He actually has the same exact model house that I have, and he actually sold his house, and he gave me this before he sold his house. So went ahead and insulated the door because I didn't want to hear any rattling. I tried to get rid of the rattling and everything else. And then this picture here, I was just playing around with the dimensions of the screen that I wanted to do. So you can see I put the tape up. We're doing a 160-inch diagonal.
Oh man, I was gonna ask how big did you decide to go, but as big as you possibly could.
Yep, pretty much. So started making the flooring, and this is where I discovered that hey, this floor is not totally level because I actually put the floor together on the tile portion, and then I just slid that piece right in there. Took all the measurements and slid it in there, and then I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't level. After I squared everything up and all that stuff. But and then reached out to a couple builders, reached out to a couple people online to figure out how to level. So these little blocks right here are actually the feet that actually hold this flooring up. The what do they call this? I'm blanking out here. The framing. They're holding the framing up off the floor. So I took my laser level and I shot it across and leveled the floor out by adding those little pieces everywhere to raise it up. And then I got the idea, all right, it's time for some sound. So just to see, what I was dealing with the sound outside. So I grabbed the Martin Logans, I threw them in the room, put one sheet of plywood down, just enough to hold the speakers. And then I decided to go to town with that. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. I could hear it a little bit outside. I actually put my stack of rails in there. I had a stack of 3 rails in there, 15-inch subwoofers, and hooked up the Martin Logans. And I told my mother-in-law to go up, my wife and mother-in-law to go upstairs because I was cranking it. And it was pretty darn loud inside of there. And the sound honestly didn't carry that much up into her room, but the vibrations did. My mother-in-law sleeps, her bedroom is above where the Colford ceiling was. The garage portion doesn't have anything above it other than just like an attic area. So I knew that I had to tear the Colford ceiling down at that point, and do some insulation and some extra soundproofing up there. So um, the self leveling concrete. So I wanted to build this to where it's reversible, right? Um, I'm not trying to brag or anything like that, but I live in an upper end neighborhood, and I just wanted to make it to where somebody can come in and reverse it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so the wood, I would have had to pull permits and everything else if I would have added concrete to the to the uh
The garage area.
to the garage area.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the whole idea, everything that I did was to make this 100% reversible to where they can literally just put the wall back up, take this stuff out, and then put the garage, put if it's a deal breaker, if I ever decide to sell my house, I spend 5,000-6,000 bucks to have somebody come in and rebuild the wall for me and take down what I did. So that's why I didn't go with any self-leveling concrete or anything like that. So this is just the floor all together. And then I filled it with this is actual rock wool. So I filled it with that. Tried not to pack it very tight, just uh, cut it. Well, it was already, everything was 16 on center. So I bought the 16 on center. As much as I could do 16 on center, bought that. I did have to cut in these areas where I put the side supports. So got the flooring, got most of the flooring done here. And this is that's that Colford ceiling. Looking back at it, just knowing that thing had to come down. And I tell you what, if you've ever tried to take or bust drywall that's only like 12 inches wide, that stuff is super strong, man. I mean, I was having to take a sledgehammer to actually bust this stuff apart to take that Colford ceiling down. So got the floor all level with the other floor. Open this is the rear wall. Open that up. Because I want to do double drywall there. I wanted to make sure that I'm putting extra insulation. It's still open. I'm deciding, because this is an adjoining wall to the rest of the house. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to put some mass loading vinyl in there before to try to help out just with that wall. I am doing 2 layers of drywall green glue in between. Not sure if the mass loaded vinyl is going to do a whole lot.
Those
Just
things are
because
not cheap, but if you can, I will say do it.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you can,
because
do it.
so the weak point of that whole wall is my rear entry.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna have to buy a solid core door or something. A
How
different
wide is
a
that
regular
door?
door. So I know that that's the weak point for right now.
How
Um,
wide is the door?
the door is a standard door, just 36 inches.
36. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I actually had to move this door because when I built the wall down the side, you'll see in later pictures here, I had to build the wall to hide the garage door. So that wall came 9 inches off of the block wall that you see here, and it actually came 9 inches off on both sides to give an air gap, and also to for soundproofing, and then also it's going to come off 4 inches off of the double drywall. So I'm going to be around 16 and a half wide by 23 and a half deep with a false wall up front that will be 2 feet off. So usable dimensions will be about 16 and a half to 17 feet wide by 21.5 feet deep.
Cool.
So this is just some more pictures of me getting ready to do major demolition to this culvert ceiling that my wife was not happy about, that I was tearing that down. But
Yeah.
but I told her it wasn't going to look symmetrical. You know, there was no way for me to make that look symmetrical with the rooms not being the same length. You know,
Yeah.
I could have done it if it were symmetrical. So this is a picture of me that I moved the door. You know, I moved the door from the very corner over. And granted, like I said, the only help that I had in this room was I had someone come run the electrical, and I had someone come and help me with ceiling drywall, and then just so far one layer, the top layer of the drywall, which I found out I actually didn't need him to help me because I have a drywall lift for the sidewalls, so it's not that hard to do with the lift, because he couldn't make it to help me for the last couple weeks. So this is the moved door, and you see my dilemma. There's no tile. So I had to call a tile guy. That's the other guy. That's one of the other trades that I had to call to come lay the tile into there. This is where the wall was. This is where I did use some concrete to bring the levels together, because there was a little gap in there. So I did use some concrete to get that level with the two rooms adjoining there. All right, and here's some framing. You'll see my laser level going on there. So start at the framing. As I mentioned, that's 9 inches off of the wall. It's all stuffed with R15. And then the sidewalls, yeah, I think the side, maybe it might be even deeper than that. It might be R30 on the sidewalls because it's 9 inches deep and it's almost touching the wall. I'd have to take a look at it and see exactly what it is. But as I mentioned, I'm keeping the windows, so I actually framed around them. I added some supports to the acoustic treatment for the garage door. As I mentioned, I wanted to see what kind of rattling and stuff I had, so I wound up going outside after I secured that door, and I had the speakers playing and everything in there. It was pretty loud, like I said, and I didn't hear any rattling coming from the inside or the outside, which was good. So just framing it up. As mentioned, these are the two other windows that I am going to keep. However, they are going to have some window plugs that are going to be on a pivot somehow. I've not figured that design out yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to do just like a kind of like a closet door, to where it just turns open on one pivot, or if I'm going to put some actual hinges in there. But when I do the walls, all the fabric walls and everything else like that, when I do that, the panels are going to actually extend past the windows and past the door, because I'm going to have another door, and there'll be a symmetrical line going across the top and the bottom, so that you will not even be able to see a window there. So it's going to be a bigger panel than the actual framing that's going to open up. So you won't even know that a window is there. I do have that portion figured out, just not how tight it's going to be and how it's actually going to pivot. I don't have that figured out yet. All right, this is just me opening up the with all the culvert ceiling gone. All my mess there. All right, and still working my way to the other side wall and the front stage. This is actually a theater. I threw this in here because This is actually a design that I really like. That that Michael actually went and visited this designer, Wayne Paposa. He put this design together in another theater, for someone's theater, and I really did like that look of that design. So, still not sure 100% how the aesthetics of my room are going to turn out. This is the framework going up on the other side. This is just me playing around with a little drawing, trying to figure out speakers where they're going to go across the front. I don't know what I took that picture of that what for, but that's where the two walls were joining. So got the front wall up here. Got the false wall. As you can see, I got the Martin Logan up. Martin Logan back there. Um, the screen is going to come to about 30 inches from the floor, and I was looking at that. All the tweeters on my speakers are at sitting height. So on the Martin Logans, I think it's about 42 inches. So it might even be higher than seated height on a lot of couches or home theater chairs. So I was thinking about if I raised them up just a little bit more, if some of this wood is going to interfere with some of the, and that's the question that I was going to ask you, Paul, if some of the wood is actually going to interfere with the dispersion and different frequencies. Do
I
you
mean,
know off the top of your head?
technically, I mean, anything in front of a speaker is gonna, affect it. But I mean, you know, not. I don't know that you would be able to tell.
Right.
I mean, that's the test. Have someone, put the speaker in two different spots and do A B, and do a fully blind test to yourself.
Right.
'Cause, I mean, there's so many factors that or just build around it if you're that worried about it. I mean, it's wood. It's
Yeah, I
easy to
mean, the only
cut.
thing that would get into the way would be, the bottom of the screen. The bottom of the screen is a metal frame, right? Which I'm trying to put the metal frame because with the Martin Logans, you got the two 8-inch woofers, and then you got a gap, and then you got the mid tweeter, or
Hmm.
mid, and then you got the tweeter. So I thought I had everything to where the bottom of the screen would run across to where there aren't any speakers hitting wood, but or the metal frame. So it because that whole front is going to be nothing but acoustic transparent.
I mean, anything in front of a speaker, regardless, technically is going to, it's no different than putting a center speaker inside a cabinet.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
but one bar across something, like I said, you'd have to, like, if it was in front of the woofer, I don't think I would even blink at it, because you also got to remember, I mean, every speaker grill has supports inside of it.
Right.
Technically, that affects the sound of the speaker,
Yep.
but are you gonna notice? So it's one of those things where, sure, if you looked at a clipple measurement with and without that, oh yeah, you'd be, oh, look at how bad this is, oh, it measures so horrible. And
Yeah.
this
So,
one,
so are you
you
using any tool to calculate and design the room? Like, the audio advice tool that you can
know what
use
I
to
would.
do like speaker measurements, speaker
So
positioning and all that stuff?
so I reached out to Matthew Pose,
Okay.
but I had already, for the most part, I reached out to him more for the acoustic placement more than the speaker position. With my room and the windows, I'm going to be sitting about 11 feet back to where I get 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Right. So with the windows there, the garage door, I was kind of limited on what, where I can place those side speakers. But with me doing it, to be able to keep the windows, I still have the full equilateral triangle, at that 11 feet that I was looking for to get the best staging, sound stage, and stuff like that. So that definitely did take into effect of how I designed it. Now, as far as the rear row, I'm still messing around with how far back that is. I think it's going to be around 17 feet. I want to have about 4 feet off the back wall. I don't want anything right up against the back wall.
So wouldn't 11 feet for 160 be like really close? If 11 and the back the rear is 17, you still have
Well,
what, like
Michael's sitting
six
nine
feet?
feet from a 150, so why can't I be 160 from 11 feet?
I'm just curious. I mean, Michael could
I'm
be
just messing
doing it.
around.
Doesn't necessarily mean that it's the
Yeah,
best,
no.
right?
It may be a little close. If it is, I can push it back a little bit. Maybe another foot or so on the
Yeah,
front.
given
Um,
given that you have around 5 foot between the front row at 11 and 17, right, where you want the
Correct.
back row, so that's almost 6 feet. So I'm thinking you could add another 1 or 2 feet.
Yeah, and so in the theater, there's going to be a couch, like an L-shaped couch with
Okay.
with an ottoman, because I like laying down sometimes watching movies when I'm not doing critical listening. Me and the wife, that we've always had a big couch, and I'm telling you what, I went to Macy's to buy this couch, and it's like I'll probably be sleeping more than I'll be watching movies because this thing is like a cloud, man. I'm telling you, it's super fluffy, super soft. Um, and then I also have four theater chairs, which you'll see in the coming up here. But I'm trying to decide on the orientation, whether I'm going to do the four theater chairs up front, because that is going to be my main listening position, the front,
Yeah.
or I'm going to do the couch. Well, I'm really leaning towards doing the couch up front. And the reason is I bought a bar top that will go along the back side of the theater chairs. Well, that bar top is tall. So if I put it up against the couch, I don't think the couch back, I think the bar is going to be too tall for the couch. So I just got to play around with stuff. I'm also going to be building a riser in here too. So my thoughts were to wrap the riser around, like kind of come in on an angle around the couch. So it comes in and more walks you, the steps will walk you down into the middle of the room rather than just walking 3 feet on each side. There's going to be a 3 foot walkway on each side. So I mean, there's plenty of room in the theater.
Yep.
It's just getting everything actually set up. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, this is a lot of work, man. Like just taking a look at it, I'm having like flashbacks, and mine wasn't even as complicated as yours. So it's like,
So this is
this.
me and John Anthony. This is me and John Anthony sending messages back and forth to each other. He asks me about my progress all the time, and I'll take out one thing I love about the Note is you can take out and the Galaxy Note and just use your pen to draw all over the screen. I'm sure you can do it with Apple too, but I like the little pen apparatus that it comes with, and you can just draw all over the screen. So I was trying to show him the tray ceiling that I'm going to be doing here. This is me testing. You'll see me testing out my building here later on. Here you'll see me testing out my speaker box and later on. But this is the beginning of the tray ceiling. I put this together on the floor and quickly found out that it was extremely heavy using 2x4s. Had to use a ratchet strap
Yeah.
and some other things to winch it up there and put it in place. So yeah, it was pretty heavy right away.
Yeah, that's gonna be heavy for tray ceilings, man. Two by
Yeah.
Oh
fours.
yeah, that's
Whew.
yeah, a lot of artistic stuff like that. If it's
T-
not structural, you just used 2x2s
To
a
buy,
lot of the
yeah,
time.
so lightweight,
Yeah, yeah. I use
or
two
at
by
least
fours.
or lightweight,
I didn't want any
just so.
metal rattling, even though there is still
Yeah,
metal, but you know,
yeah.
the Colford ceiling was actually made out of metal, the metal the whole time, the whole way. But like I said, not thinking about it prior to me constructing some of this stuff, I literally had to use a sledgehammer to break some of these 8-inch drywall boards.
Oh
So
yeah.
it was super strong. So this is some
I mean,
windows
it's
framed in.
concrete basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone asked, I think Eric asked, what are you doing for the screen section and the windows? Because any light bleed is gonna come through the back of your screen.
Yeah, so the screen I'm going to be using Michael actually showed this on his channel. There's a static cling product that actually attaches to the windows, and one side is white and one side is black, and it will black out the actual window.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
the white side I'm using because it's like my white blind. I can't, like I said, I can't really change the aesthetics of anything. I am going to put some insulation back there also. There's going to for just for soundproof and stuff like that. So there will be some type of insulation in the back there, along with the static cling stuff that goes on the wall. It's going to be cut out on the windows. It's going to be cut out perfectly to the window frame. So there
Gotcha.
shouldn't be any light bleed through there. For this side window here, there's going to be like a window plug. So there's going to be gaskets that actually, when you close it, you won't be able to see any light coming through it. But I do want to have it to where my wife can come here if somebody rings the doorbell, because my door is literally on the left side of on the left side, right outside that window. It's I want to have it to where she can just look out that window. You know what I mean? So if somebody happens to ring the doorbell. We do have a Ring doorbell too, but just want to keep the windows as functional as possible. This is the projector box that I built. This You'll see that there's actually a metal tray ceiling up there. I decided that I didn't want to keep that, and I actually built the wood one just because I didn't want to hear the metal vibrating. This is that one corner that I was telling you about, that all my electrical, got 3 4 gang boxes there, 1 2 gang, then a 20 amp and a regular. Trying to cut all that stuff out, was a nightmare. Measuring it up, making sure it was all correct. So this is just a little bit more pictures of the ceiling. Let's see here. This is a present that I bought for myself. The golf club is just to show. That's a Callaway driver, an old Callaway driver. That's just to show the stature of this monolith D215s. So we're gonna have 8 15s in this theater.
That's
Two
crazy, man.
These two monoliths are going to be in the front, and
Man, those are gonna be
the
nice.
in the
Nice
back
and
I'm going to
basic.
have stacked rails.
Oh yeah.
The rails look a
More
little
than
bit better,
enough.
so I'm choosing to put, because they may be the only speaker that you see in the whole theater. So I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to build like a caddy corner between the side wall and the back wall, and shove those in there, along with making a bass trap. This is my rack. Just random pictures, going from the top to the bottom. We got some switches up at the top. PlayStation 5 right under that, tough to see, but the little thin line above the silver line is the Lumigen 4242 Radiance processor. Got my good old buddy that everybody hates, the Kaleidoscape. That's actually the Strato S. I
I'll
purchased
drink to that.
that. I actually purchased that used. So that's what allowed me to get into the Kaleidoscape system. I got the Zapiti I think that's the 4K HDR Zapiti. I actually have another Zapiti that is the signature reference. That's still in a box. Um, the Panasonic UB 9000 for the player. A Panamax line conditioner, power conditioner, and then we have the processor that's going to run the whole thing is the Lindorf MP60. That is a 16 channel processor that has a lot of features. I actually was able to get a pretty good deal on that one. Under
Yeah,
that is an AC
that's a
Infinity fan.
nice processor. 16 channels, and that was quite a while ago, right? Like
Yeah,
you've
I
had
actually
that one for
purchased
a
that.
while. So,
Yeah, I've had that for 2.5 years now. So,
mm,
um, under that's the AC Infinity fan that's on top of my Denon 6300. Now, I was making use of a lot of this equipment already. Um, I had my I had a theater set up in my living room. It was a 7.3 because I had three stack subwoofers, 7.3.4. So I was able to set that up in my living room, kind of something like you got Paul, just like an open type of
yeah.
setup.
uh,
My kitchen and living room, kitchen, I guess eat-in dining area, and uh, then my living room all run together. So I was able to what I did, my ghetto setup. I was able to pull the Martin Logan speaker boxes out, and I would take and set my rear speakers on top of them, and just kind of tuck them away in a corner when I wasn't using them. Had them hooked up, and then I would just pull them behind my couch and set them up on top of the my makeshift Martin Logan box speaker stands, so that I had my
I
rear
would
sound.
not trust a box, but yeah. It's- oh man, I've
So,
had someone bump into mine because they're on speaker stands and they're weighted and all that other stuff. But people normally when they bump into something, they usually try to grab it and like, oh. And yeah, someone at one point did bump into one of my speakers, and I was like, but they grabbed it and and I was like, yep, if that wasn't weighted, that would have been on the ground. If it was a cardboard box, it'd have been gone. I was like,
yeah,
oh
actually, these
man.
boxes are pretty sturdy, man. I mean, and I wasn't using nothing too expensive. I had some old Infinity speakers that came in like a
Okay, gotcha.
they came
Yeah.
in I guess a home theater in a box type of setup where you got like six of them. So nothing too expensive to go on there. And my son was young at the time. I took all this down literally like
Mm.
2 years ago to give me motivation to start building the theater. I'm like, okay, I'm watching A Quiet Place 2, and then after that, the whole theater comes down. Whatever I got to try to give me motivation to get building. But as I mentioned, life gets in the way a lot. These are my Atmos speakers. These are Martin Logan's. Oh, I didn't talk about the amplifiers that were on that other. Let me go back. So the under the Denon 6300, that's actually going to power my living room theater. I'm going to put together another living room theater to where everything is basically just going to be. I think it may just be in walls. I'm unsure, but I will have some kind of theater set up in there, whether it be 5.4 because I have four Atmos channels in my living room now. So whether it be 5.4 or 7.4, I'll figure something out. But that'll run that. That's a Denon 6300, and there should be plenty of power in that just for for that. Um, underneath of the Denon 6300 is the Emotiva DR3. I'm running 4 ohm speakers, so that's pushing about 600 watts per channel into my front stage. And you may say that's an overkill, but if you think about it, my Martin Logans, I think they're like 92 dB sensitive. So by the time you get pushing up there, I'm gonna by the time you got to double the wattage for every time. So if you get to 200 watts and you're trying to get 3 more dB, Now you're at 400 watts, right? If you're going, we need to get 3 more dB to get the reference from 400 watts. Now you need 800 watts. So it does add up a lot. It does add up pretty quickly. So the DR3 is going to run the front stage. The Emotiva XPA 7, XPA 5 is in the middle, down on the bottom here, and XPA 7 for the bed layers of speakers. Now I did wind up purchasing another XPA 5. I got that through Shane because I'm going to try and turn my 16 channels into 18 channels. I'm going to have 2 sets of side surrounds, one for the front row and one for the back row. I'm going to mess around with some mini DSP. I've asked a couple questions about it on some different forums to see if I can add the delay or even see if it's even worth adding that delay. I've gotten mixed stuff from both people saying that I'm not even going to be able to hear the difference. So just to play those two as like a Y splitter. So these are the Martin Logan.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Aren't you afraid of all these audiophiles making fun of you? You've got Lindorf, Kaleidoscape. You've got, Panamax. And then you've got Emotiva, this direct internet amp brand. I'm surprised you have ATI.
I've not. I've experienced other amps. I've heard Macintosh. But I've not done any blind testing. Right. So, in my eyes, an amplifier is an amplifier for the most part, from what I've read. Right.
Yes, you're getting so many audiophiles riled up.
Yes, it's going to color. I think the difference with the amplifiers is basically the noise floor. That's just my opinion, from what I understand. Yes, there will be some differences. Some of them will add some color to the sound. Some of them, won't. Do I plan on upgrading the Emotivas? I thought about looking at the Buckeyes, but we got our good friend Chuck, C-Big. He had the Parasounds. He had a nice amplifier. He put the Buckeyes in and said he didn't hear a difference. Right. So, that's, will I try other amplifiers?
The Emotivas, they're AB, right?
No.
Or are they D?
Let's see. Let's pull it up. Let's see what they are. Emotiva.
Because I think my Yamaha that I have is a AB, if I remember correctly.
Let's see here. Amps. So let me go to getting advertisements here. The XPA Gen 3 7-channel. Let's get some specs here. Yeah, actually, you were correct. It's Class AB modules, but it optimizes the Class H. So it starts off as AB.
Oh, and it's it's ABH? No, that's not a thing.
Short signal path Class AB amplifier modules optimizes Class H power supply. Okay, so it's using a Class H power supply. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
And they're 300 watts RMS into 8 ohms, 550 watts per channel into 4 ohms for the XPA 7 with 1 channel driven. With 2 channels driven, we're looking at 490 watts in the 4 ohms, 300 watts in the 8 ohms. With all 7 channels driven, 200 watts into 8 ohms. It doesn't give the 4 ohms. I think I calculated it out to be about 300 watts into 4 ohms with all 7 channels driven. Let me take a look at the DR3 and see what the amplification is for that one. Let's see, amps. Let's see what we got here. Build your own DR3. Let's click on that. Now that's a differential, is what the DR stands for. Same thing, class AB with H, optimizing class H power supplies. So yeah, I mean, amp wise,
Now, what was the
will I
Buckeye?
eventually
Were they
upgrade?
class Buckeyes were class H, right? The
I think
class
so.
H power supply.
Hmm.
AB class
Yeah,
H.
I'm interested in the Purify modules that they have just because it's super low noise floor. And I did have my eyes on the Lindorf amps to match, right? But they're $9,000 a piece for like for 8 channel. It's an 8 channel amp, and they run so efficient that there's not even a fan in them. It's the M8, right?
Has
So
has anyone had besides um I don't know who. I think Life of Bliss had the OSD. What was that big channel
it was like a
amplifier?
16 channel
Oh,
amp.
the
Yeah, I
60
remember.
channel.
Yeah, the OSD one. Yeah, that one looks pretty interesting. I like
Yeah,
that one.
it definitely did.
Man,
Yeah,
that thing will have to be on the floor or something, man. There's no rack space for that thing,
yeah.
man.
You're not putting that in a rack. It's just like you,
They have
you gotta
they
buy
have
a
shelves.
you just for that.
Yeah, put it in the garage and run cables from the garage
That is true.
to
You gotta hook up
generators.
jumper cables to that thing.
You gotta buy a Tesla power station to power your
For real, man.
extra
Oh,
amp.
so I was looking at the like I said, the Lindorf amp that they just came out. They actually announced this 2 years ago, and I've been waiting for it to come out. But then I started reading that they're using the Purify modules that Buckeye's actually using, and Buckeye is selling them for I think a third of the price. So I may see what we can do to see if I can you know get a Buckeye in just to try it out and see
Now,
if I
do
can.
they have grades to the Purify model or whatever?
I'm pretty sure they do. Yeah.
So the Lindorf is probably using maybe
I don't know
chances
that
are
it's. I don't.
you're just paying for the brand name. That's it.
Yeah.
It's Lindorf, right?
Well, I'm
Steinway.
assuming like the modules themselves may be kind of the same, but how you deploy it may be a different, because just because you have a specific module, it's kind of like I don't know how you would equate that, you know, to anything off the top of my head, but, you just have different ways of doing different deployments, and I'm sure that changes different things like noise floor and stuff like that, because you could use a module, no matter how you could use the exact same Purify module in something, and if you run a
I'm gonna
trace,
pull it up. I'm
right
sure.
into your, power supply dampening or whatever, you're going to pick up noise, so or, maybe you just cheapen out on the power supply. It's like, oh, I got this Purify module that has 1/10 of the power supply requirements to, meet what the module's capable of. But
Are you able to share that, Ike?
yeah, we're seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm looking. I'm not looking at it because
Looking at the chats.
I'm looking at the. So yeah, I thought about it just to make sure that you're getting the proper voltage and everything else from the to the amps from the processor, and obviously, the processor is made to run on these particular amps, just like the Trinoff is made to run on the Trinoff amps. So you know, will I hear a difference? I'm not sure. You know, um, but that's a great question, though. This is a Class D amplifier using the Purify technology. So from what I've heard, the noise floor on this is really really low. So, um, but like I said, I've not heard it or tried it out. They show it in some of the
Yeah.
circuitry with, like I said, there's no fans to it. There's nothing, so it definitely runs pretty efficient.
Yeah,
So you
I'm
got
all for cooler, that's for sure. Yeah, and someone going from a pair sound and this and liking it, it's definitely.
yeah. So it looks like you can do bridging and stuff like that, just like most amps. So, all right, let's get back to the theater. Let's see. Let me start sharing again. Home theater build. Share that. All right, so these are the 8-inch, but not so 8-inch speakers that are going into the ceiling. And the reason I say that is because I ordered them. They came, but the speakers themselves didn't measure 8 inches. I was like, man, these look a little bit smaller. So called who I bought them from. Say, hey, man, these look a little bit smaller. Oh yeah, and then I called Martin Logan. They said, oh yeah, we measure from the basket. I'm like, you're measuring from the base, dude. You measure from the
Hmm.
bottom. You're measuring.
They're measuring from the taint. They're
Yeah,
not even measuring
exactly.
from the base. They're measuring from the taint. It's like, yeah, okay, sure.
Oh
Yeah,
goodness.
that's funny.
So yeah, but I also measured, just to give Martin Logan credit. I also measured the 8-inch so-called woofers that are in the 60 XTI. Same exact thing. They come up a little short. So, but long as they sound good, they're on an angle. I'm actually going to be using uh, these as wide speakers. Going to cut out the in wall and angle them right. It just so happens that they angle right at the listening position. So, I mean, it's going to work out great to be able to use these because where I have that garage door, that particular area, I didn't want to go no further than 9 inches off the wall. So by the time I added that insulation and everything else, I have limited space in that particular section. So using these angled in walls is what I'm going to be using for the wides. And that's a picture of me messing around with it, setting it up there, you know, just trying to get the angle of the tweeter and the waveguide going towards the main listening position. Everything has Smurf tube, so that was a major undertaking. I had to run Smurf tube to each speaker, which I've already mentioned that there's 6 Atmos and 11 bed layers. So ran all of that. Plus, I ran conduit and Smurf tube to all all of the subwoofers. So all of the subwoofers have their own conduit and then also ran to the projector so that I can easily pull speaker wire or whatever else. This is just a picture of me running this Smurf tube through the attic. And then you got to get up there and you got to secure it. So you got to have all these. Did my camera cut out?
No? Oh, yeah, yours did.
Yes, yeah.
That's
Oh,
all right.
We
That's
can
all
see a
right.
screen
That's
share though.
I wonder why
yeah,
my
you're
camera cut out.
yeah, maybe
We got
your
yeah, your
battery died.
battery. We can see
Everything's
a
all
screen
hooked
share
up.
though.
Yep,
Oh man.
that's really weird. Anyway, so all of the there we go. I got it back on. All of the Smurf tube is ran throughout to each individual speaker. This is me adding insulation. That is a side surround box. This is the second side surround up here. As you can see, because it's going to be on a riser, I raised it up. So the back speakers and the second set of side surrounds, they're going to be elevated a little bit. So just adding more insulation. And as you can see, stuff's starting to take form here. This is just a prior picture to all that. I do have some pictures that jumped around, so I apologize for that. This is that's actually John Anthony's theater. Now, what I did on the bottom of the tray ceiling, I actually put wood on the bottom because I constructed it to where there's an inch. It comes out an inch past the edge of the framing to be able to put some lighting up there, some strip lighting to give me some effects. So I felt that the wood was going to give me a harder edge and a straighter edge than drywall. Yes, you put the corners up there, but definitely made it a lot easier just to secure the drywall to the bottom. This is where some drywall went into the ceiling. That's actually an attic access. Still figuring out how I'm going to build a box and make that just drop down because I still want to have access to the attic area. But it will be covered up with some form of cloud sound panel. That's just more of the drywall going in. Actually had to cut each individual piece up there, and I double drywalled that. As you can see, that's some green glue. I had to take that piece back down and apply some more green glue and put it back up there. So green glue was going between all of them. That's another picture. So that's the floor. This is Don hanging from his projector box. If this is how I build things.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
that was a really bad idea, man. But
you
it's all good.
you can at least hold your body weight. I'm not.
So look, if I'm
Now,
putting a
now,
if I'm
now,
putting a
now I
sixteen
question
thousand
the
dollar
structural
projector in that box,
integrity.
it needs to be able to hold me, right? So
Yeah, I actually like that photo. It's funny.
See, now you need a
But the
civil
question
engineer.
is, like, who took the photo?
oh, it was on a timer, dude. I ran like a 10-second timer, ran up the ladder real quick, grabbed the box. You don't know how many takes I had to get this.
Man.
I couldn't work in the theater no more after this. I was tired.
Okay. Let me tell you a secret on how you get those perfect shots. You just run video, go up there, do your thing, and then come back down, stop the video, and
And
do a
pause it.
screen capture on the
Yep.
photo.
I'm not finna
You did
do-
like 100 pull-ups
Yeah,
up there,
there's
like,
no way I'm doing
shit,
multiple
I keep
tries on
missing
that.
it.
Oh,
That's
man.
hilarious.
Yeah, so that's me making sure that my projector is going to be stable inside of that box. This is the seats that I got. I actually got a row of 4 seats. These are Seatcraft seats. Like I said, I don't want everything to be I don't want everything to be all black in the theater. I do want a little bit of character to the theater. So this is going to give me some pop of color. These seats here. All right, a little bit more construction there with the wood. This was me cutting out the actual speakers. You can see the double layer drywall there with the. I had to reroute some of this AC work once I added this tray ceiling, so rerouted that. As you can see in this corner over here, this was one of my f ups with the cutout with that special tool that don't work on double drywall. Got everything cut out. And funny story, it got cold in South Florida, which cold to me in South Florida is like 50 degrees, right? Cold to you guys is like negative 30. But got cold in South Florida, and I came downstairs to work in the theater. And I was like, man, why is it so cold in here? We got the heat on, but the wife don't like it to be cold. So we got the heat on, set on 70. And I look up, and over here in this corner, that's the actual AC vent. I look up, and there's no AC vent. I'm like, oh my goodness, I forgot to cut the AC vent out. So, so I was wondering why.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah, that's funny. You're just like, man, what in the whole world? Yeah.
I'm like, we got the heat on. Why is it so cold in here? But yeah.
Now, is there a return vent in there?
Yeah, that return vent was right over here.
Oh, so you had the return vent, but not the actual exhaust. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. And that attic, the next picture here, you'll see this attic. I mean, it leads directly to the outside. So the way that houses are constructed in Florida is they have an eave that allows all the hot air and all the cold air to come in and just blow into the attic, right? And that's most construction everywhere. It allows air to pass
attic
through.
has to breathe. Yeah. Yep.
So it allows all the cold air, all the noise, all the everything to come through. So those particular speakers and that particular opening, I'm going to have to find a way to make sure that I put some gaskets up there so that the sound just doesn't come penetrating through some of those areas, because you can hear the sound.
Do like rubber, they'll make like rubber seals and rubber like gaskets for even a lot of windows and stuff like that, like actual rollable, or like it'll have like more give to it. Like you can have the solid, but then you can have some stuff that'll have like, it's almost like a U or a W shape where it'll be flat where you mount it, and then it'll go up and then back down, and then it's what that allows. And that's got its own, it allows it to compress nice and gives it good cushion and will help prevent any rattle as well. But there's all kinds, I'm sure, that you could find, but just there's foam works really well, but I don't know how well the foam itself would for just airflow that would work perfect, but I don't know how well that'll work with rattle, versus like a rubber that's a little bit denser.
Right. Yeah. Definitely gonna find something rubber, I believe, even if it's like an inner tube or something like that, to try to seal it, Scott, yes, I am going to the Florida Audio Expo. We covered that a little bit earlier in the beginning. I'll be there. If there's anything on the list that you guys want me to check out, if you leave a comment in the if you go to the Florida Audio Expo website, if you want me to check something out, I'll leave a comment on this video, and I'll try to check that out and report back for you. Report back to everyone on next week's show. Let's see. All right, so just a little bit more of the construction coming towards the end here. Got all the ceiling done there. That is that's the vent that I didn't cut out.
that would be fun. Dude, that's what's amazing. It's always the simplest thing. You're just like, Why? Oh man, really? I do that all the time. It's
As you
like,
guys
dang it.
can see here, you couldn't see in the other picture. Over here in the projector box, I actually have um, a duct fan, from AC Infinity. It actually will suck out the hot air, and it's gonna. I've actually got it blowing to over the ceiling into the dining area. That through that door there is actually the dining area. So I do have an exhaust that I put in for this, where the speaker, excuse me, where the projector box is.
You don't just
One
have
thing
it
I
blowing
wish.
in the attic or anything. It's
So it's
blow.
between two floors.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
so it's going to blow. It'll blow between the two floors. One thing that I wish I would have done a little bit differently is this back plug. I'm not sure how much going to affect the projector. I wish I would have put it in the top, and I still can move it, but then I would probably wind up gluing a piece of board to the back to make sure that no sound transmission would go through to the other side through that. Um, but that's one thing I wish I would have done a little bit differently. Put that receptacle in the top. So yes, I do. I do need exhaust, Paul. I do need exhaust.
Uh,
So got the second layer of the drywall on the bottom there. It's coming together, man. You know, it's getting there. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
yeah, it's looking good, man. It really is.
That
It's
was
amazing.
so yeah. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing there. Any questions or anything that you guys have about the build, by all means, drop them in the comments and be sure to answer anything that you guys have any questions about. But I'm enjoying the process. You know, uh, I'm unfortunately it's taken me as long as it is. I do have a young son that's 4 years old that takes the majority of my time. I do have a couple businesses that I run, and then I also work for a company also. So um, just just trying to plug along here, man. You know, get it done as much as I can. I can hire somebody to do it if I wanted to, but like I said, I really enjoy doing it. You know, so I'm enjoying the whole process. A lot of people say, enjoy the process of upgrading your theater throughout the years.
Yep.
I'm not that type of person. I want to try to buy the biggest and the best that I can right away. But I am definitely enjoying the process of building it out myself. It's something that I can say that, hey, you know I did this. You know what I mean? So, and
Yep.
that I something that I can be proud of that I did.
Yeah, I think it gives you a really good understanding of it too, right? Because you built it, you know how it works, and kind of allows you to appreciate what you got even much more better. So,
Exactly.
and I think when you talk about some of these things, you can speak with a lot of confidence on it because you have actually done it, you know. So,
Right.
Yep. Whether it's worth it, whether
yeah,
the different. Yeah, there's lots of things that people don't know. But you've built like with your own hands
yep,
that all of it basically. I mean, there's certain things. Yeah, I wouldn't unless I do my electrical, but I went to a vocational school and learned how to do electric. Am I certified? No,
Right.
but I trust myself because I was trained. I just never, I didn't do like a journeyman thing or any of that. And we actually wired a house like from start to finish. We were young at the time, but yeah, we learned a lot of the things that you had to do, why you had to do them, and stuff like that. Because especially when it comes to stuff that's dangerous, you do things like you're supposed to staple it to the wall or put it in conduit if it's free flowing. And people are like, oh, why do you do that? It's like, well, if someone's drilling through it or sawing through a wall and all of a sudden they grab a conduit and it starts smacking the drywall, you're like, oh, whoa, what's that? And you stop, right?
Yeah,
Versus
and that's
just,
the one thing I don't do. I can build anything else, but when it comes to electricity, I'm paying somebody, man.
You know what I thought about?
uh,
I can probably
I don't
do it,
mess with
right?
electricity.
The thing that confuses me sometimes is like the three-way switches and stuff like that. I can change a plug, I can change a regular switch, I can change all that stuff. But
mhm.
some of the things that would confuse me, it would be like three-way switches and stuff like that. So the thing
You're
that I
not the only one. My
thought,
house, when I first moved into it, which was done by professionals, and I'm air quoting here, they had a three-way switch that was wired incorrectly,
yeah,
and I had to rewire it. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I'm like, what? Why is this? I was like, oh, you got to be shitting me. I was
that's,
like, so, and I mean, it took me a while. I literally had to draw it out on the whiteboard. It's like, okay, this is how this is supposed to go. Why is this not working? And then come to find out, they started at the wrong end. The power was coming actually off of uh, a different plug, and you have to start it at a specific plug to have the three-way. You got to know where the source starts, basically,
Hey,
right.
for the
just get a
three-way.
professional when it comes
Yep,
to
exactly.
electricity.
What
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
listen to us. Get a
I highly
professional.
advise that.
Get
Yep.
someone who knows what
Because
they're
what
even
doing.
the
drove me
professionals,
what
I
drove
was
me
like, oh, they
to
did this
hire
wrong.
a professional for the
But
electric.
at least there's liability coverage, right? If you
Right,
get a
exactly.
professional, so
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's what
at
drove
least
me
there's
to.
liability. You don't want to accept
Yeah.
that risk. You want somebody else to accept that risk. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
well,
exactly what
that
drove me to that because I thought to myself, what if for some reason there's an electrical fire?
Yep.
Then my homeowner's insurance comes out and they do an inspection and they say, well, all this wiring was wired wrong. And then, then they say, well, who did this wiring? I say, well, who can I say? That was me. I did that. Well, you're at
Yep.
fault. We're not going to pay for any of this. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Exactly.
So
Yep.
that to pay my electrician, I think I paid him. I think it was like $2,500, and he's still going to come back and put the receptacles on and everything else like that. Um, I actually reached out to him the other day, say, "Hey man, do you remember me?" And he was like, "Yeah, I remember you doing your theater." I said, "Well, unfortunately, life got in the way, but I'm just about done with drywall. So, would you still be willing to come out? If not, just let me know. It's no big deal. I understand." And he's like, "No, man, we'll get that thing finished for you. I want a demo." So so he's going to come back out and wire everything up. But for $2,500, I mean, to wire as much as he did and ran separate 20 amp lines, four separate 20 amp lines, and then a separate 20 amp line for my racks and stuff like that in the closet. That's one thing I didn't show. My equipment will actually be outside of the theater room. It won't be inside of the theater room. I have the theater room is in the front of the house, and then there's a dining area that we're going to be converting to like a pre-theater / playroom for my son. And then there's a closet underneath my steps, and that's where all the Smurf tube is running. It's running across the dining room into the closet, and it actually dumps down. I'm going to build like a wire trough to come down into my rack. So, but yeah, no, I'm enjoying the process. It's been fun. It's
so, not to cut you off, but we did get this question about PSA speakers. I have not listened to them. However, when I started building my home theater, they were actually one of the speakers that I was looking into. I was looking into PSA and the Randalls, and they seem to have good reviews. So,
is
you
that
know,
are they made in Canada? I think.
the
I
Power Sound
haven't.
Audio.
I have not
Uh,
used them or heard them myself, but I've had a few friends that's had
yeah, a
them,
lot
and
of people speak
a
highly of
lot
them.
of it's, and those are kind of uh, from what I remember, a brand that's like almost like high end, but really affordable comparatively
Yeah, I
for
think
what they
people
do.
look at them almost like the way they look
Yeah.
at the GTRs, right? They're almost
Oh,
like,
this is Power Sound. Okay,
yeah,
Power Sound audio.
yeah, the
Yeah.
No, they're
power
not.
sound audio. So people talk
Yeah.
about them almost like they talk about GTRs.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
what are you
hand
looking for? Are you
built.
looking for? Sound off in the comments. Are you looking for the actual loudspeaker? Or are you looking at the subwoofers? I can tell you that John Anthony, who's a regular host on here, he has I think 4 or 5 of the PSA subwoofers, and he loves them. He really does. He really does like them. So I've not heard them myself, but I've definitely heard a lot of good stuff about their subwoofers.
Wait
Yeah,
a minute. Wait a minute. Are you and John Anthony live in the same area?
No, that's what I said.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't hear them, but he definitely raves about them.
I was judging you right there. I was like, wait a minute. How can you be close friends and
yeah.
you ain't even heard his home
It's a good thing
theater?
that
Like,
went
what's
over your
going on?
head. Yeah,
Like, you
Dom is
better
saying
not
Dom.
live in the same area. I'm gonna be like, what? What are you talking about?
And Oprah is asking when I'm going to show up my home theater. So Don actually almost had me do it tonight, but the whole place was a mess. I needed to clean it up. So if we don't have any guests next week, I will probably do it next week. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah. But if you guys want to be a guest on the show, please, we've put in the comments. Send us an email to hometheaterhublive@gmail.com. We'd love to have you as a guest. As you can see, my theater is in shambles, so it's
Well, you don't
slowly.
have one yet. You
I,
can't say that word
You don't
yet.
even have it
I know. I was like, I know. You keep saying like, no, you don't have one.
I had a theater,
You
and I
just
have a
don't have one now. Yeah, you used
I
to
can
have
set
one.
up a five. I can easily set up a 5.4 system if I want to in my living room. I can have it done in probably 20 minutes. So
Yeah. Okay.
all the
Okay.
audio, all the rack is there. All I got to do is plug in the Denon and plug the speaker wires in, and it's good to go. So, but yeah, no. If you guys want to be a guest, like I said, please reach out to Home Theater Hub Live at gmail.com. We'd love to have you as a guest. You don't have doesn't have to be an elaborate theater, just something that you enjoy. That's
Yeah,
that's all we're looking.
and it can look as complete as Don's home theater, right? So if Don's theater qualifies as a home theater, trust me, whatever you have
Oh
qualifies.
yeah. That's the only qualification. It it has to sound better than Don's. Oh wait, you don't have speakers? Oh, okay. So
Yeah, my
that's a
Bluetooth
low bar.
system that I listen to well, who do I listen to? I listen to Living with Scott and Kat.
Hmm.
I listen to them. I listen to a bunch of podcasts. I listen to Michael Sunday. Whenever I'm working in the theater, I'll replay some of Michael's Youth Man's questions and answers. I'm constantly listening to something in there on my little portable Bluetooth.
Oh,
So
gotcha. Yep.
And speaking about podcasts, you are going to be on with Living with Scott and Kat tomorrow, right?
no,
Or is
I'm
it
on,
next week? What is it?
no, I'm on next Friday. I'm on like the 26th, I think it is. Let me take a look at my calendar.
Hmm.
Okay, you might want to
You're gonna
look
have to
for
let me
that.
know so I can watch that. I haven't. I watched. I think the video. Are they the ones in Chicago?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, they look like pretty cool people to hang out with,
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
So I'm scheduled for the 23rd on a Friday
Okay,
night on this
so
Friday night show.
I will be on there this Sunday, the 18th at 10 o'clock.
Oh, very
Now
nice.
I need to confirm sure if it's Central or but yes Central time. So it's early morning Sunday, but if you're
Yeah,
available, hop on there. And,
we're gonna have both of them on the show too. So
yes.
he's already we haven't set a date yet, but he's committed to be on the show also. So I look forward to talking to Scott. Those of you that don't know Scott, he's pretty big on the Facebook forums and AVS forum. They've started a channel called Living with Scott and Kat, Living It with Scott and Kat, and they're on YouTube. They hit 1,000 subscribers like super quick, man. I'm gonna those are gonna be the questions that I'm gonna ask him. Like, how the heck did you hit 1,000 subscribers as quick as he did? I know he had some
Well, whenever
support.
you got 150 dB, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it gets people's attention,
that
and
is true.
that's, it's that's amazing. I mean, and it's a lot more amazing than people think. Like that is, man, that's a lot to get that, especially in a house.
So
Yeah,
Johnny
Like I
says
said,
he's looking at the PSA 21, 21 12-inch subs and the M2M PSAs.
so let's take a look at them. I got them pulled up here. Let's share this. Let's see, top rated
Yeah, well,
share.
honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with PSA, man. Like
yeah. I mean,
it's almost like
it's
getting
one of
a
those things
JTR.
where you just got to look at, okay, what's your square footage of your room? What are you trying to accomplish type of deal? If you're trying to beat, Guinness Book of World Records, then okay, maybe we have a different conversation. But look at what the SPL output is, and um, consider even in these high end models. I think most people would recommend at least having dual subs. So if that's in the budget, and you're liking the bass extension that
So
it
this is
has
like
and
one
the
I'm
SPL
looking at.
output, then that'd be the way to go. Because, yeah, I mean, as far as like comparatively to some of the other brands that are, doing the same SPL, these are actually one of the more affordable brands. Like,
Right.
and I think even Shane Lee's done some reviews on some of their stuff in detail and did like SPL and his experience. And of course, it's everyone compares to, what they currently have and or whatever, sponsor or deals they have in the background. But so that's where you got to read between the lines and look at multiple different, people's perspectives of them, because like PSA, themselves, they're gonna say their speakers are amazing and perfect, but JTR is gonna be like, oh, ours are way better, you know.
Yeah,
So
and
Yeah,
I
but the
know.
PSAs
Check out.
they actually look better than some of the other DIY type brands, right? So
Hey, I mean, they got a
at least
60-day free
you can look
trial,
at this one. Yeah. 60-day return trial, that's great.
5 year
yeah,
warranty.
that's a big thing too, right? I
Yeah.
Bro,
mean,
but
because
those speakers are big and heavy, and bro, if you buy them, you're probably not gonna return it except something is really wrong with it. It's
yeah,
gonna-
Almost 2,000 watts.
yeah, 2,000 watts, man. Yeah, that's gonna
Gee.
get. Now, is that RMS or is that peak power? Do we know?
Doesn't specify. Let's see.
But yeah, I looked into these for quite a while. 3,000 watts continuous program power
Continuous is
capacity.
3,000 watts, so it's what 15 around 1,500.
Yeah, that's wow.
It's solid, man.
Let's see. Oh, here we go. You got some graphing. I wonder who provided the graphing.
It's C. Is it a? Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I looked into these, and it's just I ended up going much cheaper route. But if I was going full, all out, I think this is the brand that I probably would have. It's as comparatively to SVS or something like this. If I was going this kind of route, looking
Yeah.
for direct at this SVS and shoe, and I went super cheap with the HSU for best bang for the buck. but those were for me the three brands that I was looking at, and this was one of them. So
MTM 212. Let's see if we can find that one also. Yeah, no, like I said, John Anthony, he's got several of these, and he actually bought. I
There
think he
you go.
bought a
That's
couple
that's
of
the
them
two
new.
one two right there.
Okay, let's look at that.
$2,200.
So same thing,
Man,
almost 2,000 watts, 4,300 peak.
150 pounds though. Unboxed.
In room extension down to 10 hertz.
Your room better not be upstairs, man.
those look nice. I actually
Yeah, they
like the look
actually
of those.
look good compared to some of the other ones out there.
Now, if you're trying to blend these, just you can, but if you're trying to blend these with other subwoofers that are not ported, it can be a little difficult to do, but you can do it.
I mean, if you're going this route, you might as well just stick with the same brand for your
Right.
subwoofers, man.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah, like I said,
I don't see the need to mix match like a JTR or a PSA or some of these other, you know, custom DIY style subwoofers.
yeah, like I said, John Anthony is very happy with his. He's either got, I think he's got four of these in his room, maybe more.
yeah, and it's you can mix subs. I mean, I know a lot of people. I'm more of my a little, it's not OCD, but being very particular, I guess. I like everything. I like mentally knowing, hey, these are supposed to be all the same subwoofers type of deal.
Right.
But in reality, placement will change a speaker more than, a lot of, you know, capabilities will even. But there are, you'll see a sub that may only go down to, let's just do extremes, like 30 hertz versus 20 hertz. You're like, oh, that's a huge difference. But if you level match everything, it really doesn't matter, because remember, once you start getting into, you know, 2 subs, 3 subs, 4 subs, once you get to 4, you need, 4 more
Yeah.
to make any audible difference in what those speakers or subs are capable of. So if you just think of that, mixing and matching subs isn't as, detrimental now, as far as like the ports and stuff like that. That's more of like the phase alignment of your room and the capabilities, and that gets a little more complex, because it's almost like, and this is totally just making this up for, no scientific reason, but like, think of like a ported sub as almost having like 2 subs in the same location and trying to match those 2 with versus a sealed sub. And that's not at all accurate or true, but it's just, you have to account for where that port crosses over and stuff. So it gets, again, it's doable, especially if you have like MSO and stuff like that. But it's just so much easier to do either all sealed, all ported, But as far as, the capabilities of the subs, it's like, as long as they're reasonably within the same, you know, spec, I don't think you'd really have a problem with it. But at the same time, you also have to be very careful because if you have one subwoofer that's, oh, it's capable of 130 dB and the rest of them are only capable of 100 dB, well, now you're going to start introducing, you know, distortion, trying to have these lower output capable subs. And
Right.
that's where you really get, that's where most people run into issues mixing and matching subs. They're like, oh man, this sounds like garbage. It's like, well, yeah, you're trying to make this one sub do something that's capable of something that's twice as capable. And it's just, yeah. And you can and probably will notice that if you're trying to get into that situation. But so
Yeah.
it is just easier to say, hey, get all the same.
Yeah, and before we stopped sharing there, one thing that would persuade me to go either way, either sealed or ported, would be that outlet center that they had. Looks like they were offering $400 off of one of their 21s because it was I guess a demo unit, So that would definitely persuade me on which way to go, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That could be, yeah, for sure. Me, I just I like the seal just because a lot of the times I just like the I like the size. Normally sealed subs are smaller.
yeah,
You
definitely.
know, that's but it is more difficult to get higher volumes or with low extension. You know, but and I'm a cheap guy, so that that affects it probably the most. It's like, hey, I gotta have enough money spared to buy
Yeah,
my
there's a lot of stuff
motorcycle.
that I bought secondhand. I actually, for one of my Emotivas, they had like a half off price or something like that. I bought one at regular price, and then they had like a half off sale or something. I forgot what it was, but I wound up getting it on sale pretty cheap. As I mentioned, my Kaleidoscape I bought secondhand. Um, my I have this. I didn't mention what screen I was going with. I have the screen that I bought. Originally, I bought a 135 235 to 1 Screen Innovations Black Diamond, and somebody locally here was selling that, and it I think I paid like $500 for it. It was literally a $6,000 screen, from Screen Innovations, and I paid $500 for that. Um, some other components, I wound up buying a projector from the same person. I believe it's the equivalent to the it's a 4K E-Shift projector that doesn't it will up convert to 4K, but it doesn't truly accept the 4K signal. I think it's equivalent to one of the RS 45s or 75. I can't remember off the top of my head, but anyway, I only paid JVC. I only paid like $500 for that too. So that was my original projector, that I was going to use. And then the new projectors came out, the lasers. So I wound up. I didn't talk about screen or projector. I wound up purchasing the NZ8 for my projector, and my screen is a Stewart G4 Studio Tech 130 G4, and it's acoustic transparent so that the speakers can go behind it. Um, Thinking about toying with adding an additional screen to where it will drop down behind the bulk from that bulkhead that I built up there, that tray ceiling. It'll be hidden up inside the tray ceiling, and then it'll drop down to 16 by 9 because the actual Stewart screen that I have is 240 at 160. So thought about doing a drop down 16 by 9 just to have it as a dealer to be able to show, future clients, look, here's the difference in the screen size. You got this one as a fixed screen. You got this one that can go up and down, or we can do a fixed screen in either size, and just use lens memory, to be able to adjust back and forth between the two. So that I did forget to mention my projector and my screen.
Everybody knew you had. Everybody knew what you had. The minute you said Lindorf, I mean, I think the only surprise was, oh, you got Emotiva, not ATI. What's going on? They
Yeah,
already.
I gave my reason for that. So
What about that screen? You've had a $6,000 screen, and then I mean, did you pay $6,000 for? Well, let me rephrase that. Is the screen that you have now a retail price $6,000 screen as well?
So not throwing. Let's just put it this way: I didn't pay retail for anything that I have. So we'll just go
I
with
didn't
that.
care about what you paid.
Yeah.
Retail price for both. Or are
Oh,
they
so
equivalent?
I think the G4 is around, for the 160. I think it's close to $5,000, something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
but it's
So
white. It's just pure white. It's not, there's no. It's not a gray color or no ambient light rejecting or anything like that. It's just pure white. So and it has a point 0.4 gain on it. Also didn't mention that I have the DCR Palatine lens also. So that'll go in front of the projector too. So I have the Palatine lens and the Lumigen to do the constant.
and what's the lens in your scenario? Is it supposed to help you, concentrate the light down to the 2.35:1 aspect ratio, or supposed to
So the
help
only thing
you?
that was going to do the 235 was the Lumigen, because the JVCs actually are their what are their panel is equivalated a little bit higher than the 235. So the only thing that was going to convert it down to the 235 was the Lumigen. But the reason that I purchased the DCR lens was because I had the old projector, and the light output on that was not that much. I think it was like 1,500 lumens. So the when using that DCR lens, without going into too much detail, because we're already 3 hours into this, and Ike is yawning over there. But without going
He
into too
starts
much of the
yawning on the intro of the video.
the black bars that you get when watching a movie,
Hmm.
that's actually using part of your light output on your projector.
Yeah.
But when you go anamorphic lens, it changes the configuration of what it's outputting, and it actually uses the full output of the panel. So you're actually gaining 20% more light output. And with that old projector that I had, you I needed the extra output for my throw distance that I was having, like 21 and a half feet. So will I need it with the new JVC? Maybe not. And at that point it may go for sale or whatever. I'm going to put it on a swivel to where I can move it back and forth and do A and B. So that way I can compare what it's doing. But what it will do is it will take that full panel and it'll stretch it to the 240 screen without any processing. So I can do it with or without the processor. But the main purpose of that was to gain the extra light output of the inferior projector that I had.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I just didn't know what else because I'd heard that I haven't looked into those lenses, and I don't quite. I get the aspect ratio, like you could literally change an aspect ratio
Hmm.
with a lens versus digitally doing it, because
Correct.
digitally it is just you're just kind of masking it essentially.
Hmm.
um but I don't know how that gains you, you know light output whenever, especially if you have a product that's already like down, already digitally shrinking the image first. I just haven't looked into that, the
Yeah.
science of.
So think about it in thirds, right? You got the top third in black bars.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
got the middle third in the actual movie, and then you got the bottom third in black bars. So you're gaining that extra, uh, the extra that from the black bars. You're actually using the full panel rather than using, making it turn
See,
black.
but that doesn't make sense to me, because are you saying you're not changing it to 2351, you're doing 16 by 9, and then you're using the lens to actually make it 235 to 1.
Correct. The lens actually turns. So
Oh,
there's an anamorphic mode
okay.
in the projector that you switch to, and it uses the
Oh,
full panel of the projector.
okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense to me. I thought you were saying you were using the limit Lumigen to change it to 235 by 1,
No, 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 no.
and then I was like, well, I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. But okay, I see what you're saying. You are using the actual lens glass itself to give you that 235
Correct.
to 1. So, which, your mad VR people would say, oh, that's not non-linear stretch. That's just a constant stretch.
Right.
But in that case, you're taking that high end lens and focusing the light down.
Correct.
So, that makes more sense. That makes more sense to me. I was thinking you were saying it was the other way. I was like, I have to look into that. That doesn't make sense
Yeah.
to me. Okay.
Sorry if I didn't convey that. You
No,
know.
no, it was my lack of understanding on your setup, obviously. So okay, but yeah,
And
that
like
makes
I
sense.
said,
All
it
right.
may not even be necessary with the output that the NZ8 has. I think the NZ8's 2,500 lumens.
Yeah.
So it may not even be necessary. So it may be something that, comes out of the chain. That lens alone, I think it was close to 6,000. I think it was seven or $8,000, something like
Yeah.
that for the DCR lens. So, um, you know, I may be able to the wife's listening. It was like $600, honey. Um, but
Mhm.
no, but that lens alone, I may be able to recoup some money on that if I don't
Yeah. Yeah.
in the
For
chain.
sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. All right.
So
Well, I think I've exhausted all my liquids, so I think
absolutely, I
it's
got to get up
time.
early and start driving to Tampa too. So um, look, we definitely
Uh,
appreciate everyone joining the Home Theater Hub. Paul, thank you again for joining. As
Yep.
always, you're welcome to join whenever you like. We definitely enjoy having you. If anyone else would like to join us on the panel, by all means, please reach out to us to hometheaterhublive@gmail.com. Even if you don't want to showcase your theater, if you just want to come on here and talk shop, whatever you want to talk about, reach out to us. We'd love to have you on the channel. We definitely appreciate everyone joining tonight, and we shall see you next Thursday. Same time, same bat channel.
Thank you for watching.
yeah.
Thank you,
Later.
guys.
Bye.